Hello Quenelle and welcome to Q Today. I'm Allison Duddy.
And I'm Ron Campbell, and this is our show for December the 11th.
Coming up on today's show from The Observer, our top story, Autumn McDonald reports on the annual allowable cut report, and City Council presents year-end reports.
And coming up later on the show, Allison, is Bert deVink, and he's speaking with Dave Brown, one of our gold experts.
Great. So here at Q Today, we bring you the recent news provided by our partnership with the Quenelle Caribou Observer, combined with a bit of our own commentary, and we also bring you our own stories from the community.
And it's nice to see you back at your station, Allison.
Thanks, Ron.
Starting off our top story, Autumn McDonald reports in The Observer that a release from the Ministry of Forestry, Lands and Resource Operations states that a new silviculture strategy analyst identifies 600,000 cubic meter increase in mid-term timber supply over previous projections in the Quenelle timber supply area. However, our Caribou North MLA, Bob Simpson, doesn't agree. He isn't buying it, saying that this is just a modeling exercise. It's a what-if scenario. He seems to be supported by a document obtained by The Observer titled The Draft Modeling and Analyst Report for Type 3 Silviculture Strategy, which cautions the optimistic findings. The press release from the ministry also states the main reason for the higher mid-term forecast are due to the incorporation of new information and indicates lower pine mortality estimates in young stands, more live pine remaining in older stands, and new managed stand site productivity estimates that these stands will grow faster than previously thought. However, the analysis obtained by The Observer again cautions the optimistic findings, stating the self-life assumed in this analysis, 20 years since time of impact, is considered somewhat optimistic, and it is likely that some of the volume harvest in the model at the beginning of the second decade will be too degraded to process. Simpson said it's situations like this and the playing of politics over issues that makes the public distrustful of the system. There's no trust anymore, he says. This report simply creates more timber by playing with the model. Autumn, in her editorial, also says, stop playing politics. This is too serious of an issue to be doing that. And I agree.
I totally agree also, Ron.
We shouldn't go into logging in the next little while.
No. All right, in city news, the 6 councillors and Mayor Mary Sjostrom presented their year-end reports at last Monday's City Council meeting. Mayor Sjostrom began highlighting the strides the city has taken since last year, including multi-centre funding and the West Quenelle Land Stability Project. She also spoke of her trips to China and Quenelle's twin city, Shirawi, Japan. Councillor Sushil Tapar presented his report on the city's financial state next, saying, the city was left in financial disaster in 2003 when my first term started, and history is repeating itself. He added that the scars are green from the City Hall building, debt, and we have infrastructure in critical shape. Tapar also said that there are projects which he would like to see move forward before others, pointing out that 4 out of 6 water wells are performing past their lifespans. Now, on the positive side, though, Tapar did thank the volunteers who helped make Family Day a success, saying Family Day serves 4,500 meals to the public at no cost to them. Now, Councillor Lori-Ann Rudenberg was up next to present, and she started out by crediting the Our Quenelle process with helping to guide City Council to make Quenelle the city the community sees it looking like in 5, 10, and 40 years. Rudenberg spoke of her concern about the aging volunteer population in Quenelle, saying without volunteers in our community, many of these organizations will need financial assistance to hire people to fill many of those spots once filled by volunteers, or they will simply have to shut down. Councillor Mike Cave started his presentation by saying he's happy with the direction the affordable housing strategy and West Quenelle land stability projects are going. He also applauded Council's continued efforts to strengthen partnerships with First Nations, citing the NASCO Gateway as well as the possible extension of city water to the Latako Dene First Nation Bandlands. Cave wrapped up his report with his appreciation of Council's promotion of accessibility, saying this is a continuing process and it must keep evolving. Councillor Scott Elliott said he learned a lot attending the UBCM and NCLGA conferences this year. He also worked as the city's liaison to the different neighbourhood associations, saying all these associations are working on bettering their areas and I applaud their efforts. Another committee that Elliott was also a part of and has seen prosper is Tourism and Civic Pride Committee. Ed Coleman was up next, and he spoke of the multi-centre and the need to meet deadlines, saying the multi-centre is a project that will bring further revitalization to the downtown core and trigger other private sector investments. And last up was Councillor John Briscoe. He was busy during his first year as councillor working on the Volunteer Citizen of the Year Committee, the Canada Day Committee, as well as being part of several other groups and organizations.
That was a lot to say, Alice.
Thanks, Ron. I don't know if I should thank you. Was that a compliment or not?
I just want to make a quick comment on Councillor Sushil from PAR's statement about tax dollars. At the present time, the municipal report is out there that was prepared by the provincial government. This report indicates the taxes that are being spent in different municipalities. Just for our information, Williams Lake ranked 42. Quenelle ranks 117. There's 157 municipalities that were graded, and the higher the number, the better you've done with the tax dollars that you're receiving. So 117, we're just above average.
Out of 157, did you say that?
157.
That's not too darn bad.
That's
always
pretty good.
Room for improvement, though.
Always. And talking about money, the Friends of the Museum are pleased to announce that the Friends of the Quenelle Museum have donated $10,000 to the Community Foundation to establish the Friends of the Museum Agency Fund. This fund creates an endowment for the Quenelle Museum. The income from the fund will be paid annually to the Friends of the Museum and will be used for exhibits, programs, and special events. Citizens wishing to help preserve Quenelle's heritage may do so by making donation to the agency fund. In particular, it provides an opportunity for community members to undertake legacy planning, to make a request in their will, or to make a donation in memory of a loved one. The QCF has matched the Friends of the Museum initial investment of $10,000, and as a result, that fund is now at $20,000. An agency fund is a type of fund the foundation can manage for other organizations, which allows donors to stay personally involved with the distribution of the dollars gathered, while the foundation deals with administrative duties and offers grant-making expertise. Thanks to the generosity of anonymous donors, every donation to the Quenelle Community Foundation received by December 15th will be matched dollar for dollar up to a total of $50,000. If you would like to make a donation, please visit www.quenellefoundation.ca and click on Donate Now, or mail your donation to the Quenelle Community Foundation, Box 4158, Quenelle, V2J3J2. If you have questions, call Alex Coffey at 250-992-5495 or Dan Quenelle at 992-6392, or email qcf@shaw.ca. Quite a few WWs.
I was going to say that was quite a mouthful for you too, Ron. Okay, moving along, Quenelle Live Arts is offering the public a perfect way to enhance their Christmas spirit. Jesse Peters and Lizzie Hoyt, in concert on December 17th at Chuck Mobley Theatre, present their show Strings and Swing, Our Favorite Things, a Christmas-themed performance sure to stir the spirit of the season. Peters has been a force in the Canadian music scene since 1998, before he even graduated from high school. He's garnered rave reviews as a singer and songwriter from distinguished jazz artists Ingrid Jensen and the Canadian legend Diana Krall. In concert with Peters, Lizzie Hoyt brings her energetic and rhythmic fiddling of the Maritimes and blends it with her country folk songs from the West. A gifted vocalist and musician, Hoyt's music has been recognized at both the national and international levels. Tickets for this Christmas show are $25 for adults, $20 for seniors and youth. They are available at Bo Peep Boutique, Quenelle Music, Save On Foods, Attitude South Salon, and At the Door. The show starts at 7:30 p.m. That's December the 17th again. And if you would like more information, you can visit www.qla.ca or give Colleen a call at 747-2207.
Allison, nothing
like
music to heighten the Christmas spirit.
I totally agree with you, Ron.
Yeah, you asked if we ever had caroling.
I was just going to say, you go caroling or have carolers around your
neighborhood. The Johnson
neighborhood.
Association used to do that. But then we got down just to myself, so we figured we better quit.
You didn't want to scare people out of the neighborhood?
Not anymore.
All right.
And hockey news. No, I'm not going to talk about the NHL and how they're not wanting more money. I'm going to talk about the people that enjoy playing hockey for fun. The Adam Thunder got their first chance to take their game on the road recently. They headed to Merritt to test their mettle against the Lower Mainland and Okanagan teams. The Quenelle boys ended up in 4th out of 8 teams, coming out of the weekend with a 1-3-1 record. And I'm sure they enjoyed the trip and they got back safely.
You bet. All right, Bushy Lake Hall is going to be the setting for another Rumble. Coming up on Saturday, December 15th, Two Rivers Boxing Club will clash with boxers from across BC and even a couple from Alberta. Nothing is set in stone yet, but 9 fighters from the club are looking forward to matches with some out-of-towner bouts to round out the card. Doors open for the event at 6 p.m. Bouts begin at 7 p.m. Tickets are $10 at the door, and there is reserved ringside seats available if you call Wally Dorn at 991-5061. Sounds like fun.
Yes. Just before we get into Scott Elliott's coverage of the Roos game, did you know that Extreme Fighting, we have a person that has got a Quenelle connection?
We do. Rory McDonald, and he just fought on the weekend, actually.
You're just too intelligent, you know that?
I watched the fights.
And
well, what I didn't sleep through, I kind of had a nap through some of them, but I caught his.
And a couple of other quick things on sports. Some ringette teams traveled to the Lower Mainland over the weekend, and one of the teams, under 19, they came back with gold. And the sledge hockey, did you hear that we lost?
I did hear, yes.
The USA got gold, we got silver, and it was a 1-0 score. So now into the highlights of the Roos game.
The Quenelle Kangaroos, we're playing against the Lacklahash Tomahawks, and I'm pleased to have Waylon LaRue with me. How are you doing, Waylon?
Good, good.
Excellent. Waylon's the captain of the Kangaroos. It was a great game. I mean, it came right down to the end. It was 5-4. I was a little surprised at how close it was. You guys seemed to be handling the whole game, but they kept coming back.
Yeah, they definitely, we got a little bit of penalty trouble, but came out of it on top. Their goalie's definitely one of the top goalies in the league, facing close to 60 shots, and he held it in for them guys, for sure.
Yeah, that was incredible, really. I mean, you guys almost doubled up on them on shots. He really held them in the game. Great game, though. You guys just kept fighting and fighting. We had 5 different scorers coming, so, I mean, you're getting a little bit of input from all the guys on the team, eh?
No, that's for sure, yeah. We had goals in every line today, all 4, so that's definitely a bonus. Starting to see our systems that we work on so much in practices all the time coming through. Everyone's starting to buy into them, and
yeah, it really seems like the team's gelling a bit more, eh?
Yeah,
all,
for sure.
all come together.
Definitely.
Yeah, great. Well, and I mean, the traditions of the Kangaroos in Quenelle it's unbelievable. When you look around this old rink, there's banners everywhere. So if you've lived in Quenelle for any length of time, you know what the Kangaroos mean to Quenelle. So how does it feel for you to bring this kind of back to the community and have a lot of local boys involved?
Oh, definitely, it was a dream. I played for the Kangaroos 12 years ago. When I came out of playing minor hockey here, played a year with the Kangaroos, and it's definitely what I grew up watching. I didn't grow up watching junior hockey. We grew up watching the Kangaroos play, so it's pretty much for me and my wife to start this team back up again and get the team rolling. It's definitely a dream come true.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you very much for playing hard tonight, for everything you guys have done for the community. It's great to have the Kangaroos back, and congratulations on a great win tonight and getting the first goal.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Scott.
Take care now.
All right.
All right, when you think about Christmas, you think of all that glitters, right, Ron?
My smile.
Maybe.
My forehead.
Well, one of the other things that glitters is gold.
Yes.
And today we've got for you the third of 4 installments with Bert deVink, talking with Dave Brown, expert on all things gold.
Yes.
Let's take a look.
Hello, my name is Bert deVink, and this is the continuation with Dave Brown about the gold series. Well, Dave, go for it.
Yeah, well, last time we talked, Bert, I think we left off at Quenelle Forks.
Yeah.
And the year was 1860. It was the winter of 1859, 1860.
Yeah.
And in the spring of 1860, Doc Keithley, one of the original discoverers of Quenelle Forks, he went upstream on the Caribou River prospecting for gold. What he noticed was that the gold in the Caribou River was coarser in nature, a little more jagged and angular than the pounded out flakes coming out of the Quenelle River. So he thought the Quenelle River the Caribou River might hold the source for that gold. He prospected upstream, prospecting all the feeder creeks until he came to Caribou Lake, which is a large lake on the Caribou River system. And coming in from the west, there's a creek, and to this day it bears Doc Keithley's name, Keithley Creek. He went upstream a distance of 6 miles, found an outcropping of blue clay. Now he instantly recognized this as being similar to the blue lead of California, a very powerful indicator that rich gold-bearing gravels could lie underneath. He dug beneath the blue clay, and for the first time, he's not finding fine flour gold. He's finding nuggets in the size of small peas. And he's finding quite a bit of it. He's finding a pound of gold per man per day. Now that's 12 troy ounces. Gold has a current value of about $1,700 an ounce. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $26,000, $27,000 a day.
Oh, in those days?
In our money today. In our money today. You know, gold be having a value of about $16 an ounce, a pound, 12. That'd be somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe a couple of $1,000 a day in their time. So he goes back to Quenelle Forks to buy supplies. The traders there see the coarse nature of his gold. And what happens is other prospectors follow Doc Keithley from Quenelle Forks to Keithley Creek. And Keithley Creek is almost stake solid. What I mean is there's no good mining ground left to be had. And about the worst thing that could happen to Doc Keithley does happen to Doc Keithley. He stops finding gold. And the reason for that is he staked his claim right on Keithley Creek, wanting a source of water, wanting the water rights to that area. What he didn't realize is the ancient channel ran off to one side and cut only one corner of his claim. After 3 weeks of finding a pound of gold a day, his production dropped to almost nothing. And you'd figure he has quite a bit of gold. You know, he's been finding a pound of gold a day for 3 weeks in a row. But you've got to consider what it costs to live on the edge of civilization. Those are rather interesting moccasins you're wearing there, Bert. How much do you pay for them?
I don't know.
Well, just take a wild guess. Pay for your shoes?
Oh, right now these about $30.
$30.
Yeah, they're cheap.
You got a whale of a deal. I'll tell you, the trader must have been drunk. Because have you any idea how much you're going to pay for a pair of plain old gum rubber boots on Keithley Creek in the year of 1860?
It was a lot.
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 ounces of gold.
Wow.
That's $6,000 our money today for a pair of plain old gum rubber boots. And you don't even get to pick the size. What they bring is what you get. And, you know, you like eggs for breakfast?
$1.20.
That's right. You know?
I remember that, $1.20 per egg. In those days, that was immense.
Our money today, it'd be $80 for a 3-egg omelet. You know, and beef, if you wanted a beef cow, the nearest ranch in relation to Keithley Creek in the year of 1860 was in California.
California?
That cattle had to be trailed, and some of it came from Texarkana, Texas, and even Mexico. It took more than 2 years for those cattle to be trailed from the source of the beef all the way into the Caribou gold fields. And by the time it arrived here, you'd be paying somewhere in the neighborhood of $500. Multiply that roughly by 70 to get our money today for a beef cow. You know, all I'm trying to illustrate is that it cost a fortune to live on the edge of civilization.
It does,
These men could not rest on their laurels. Once they had made a strike and it petered out, they had to keep on looking for gold. And in late fall of 1860, Doc Keithley got a party of men together and left the town that bare his name, went up Keithley Creek to Snowshoe Creek, followed Snowshoe Creek right up into the alpine headwaters of that creek.
Oh, he did, eh?
And from that high treeless vantage point, he could look westward across the unprospected wilderness. Not a wisp of smoke betrayed the presence of another man. And they saw a shimmering creek in the distance, made their way down to the creek, and all about the creek were the antlers of deer and caribou. So you know what they named the creek?
The caribou. Yeah. Antler.
Antler Creek.
Antler Creek, right,
but it's
okay.
a stupid name.
Yeah, I should have known.
Yeah, because, you know, they should have called it Nugget Creek or Eureka
really,
Creek or Holy Mary, Mother of God, I am stinking rich Creek. Because from the first shovelful of dirt, they'd recovered 1 1/2 ounces of gold. That is roughly $2,500 our money today to a shovelful of dirt. Another shovelful of dirt, 4 ounces of placer gold. Coarse placer gold of the shovelful.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, it gets better. There was one spot on Antler Creek where there was a limestone dike. The action of water flowing over the dike had blown all the gravel out of a bedrock canyon. And what was shining up out of the cracks and fissures of the bedrock? Nuggets the size of your thumb. They didn't even have to dig. All they had to do was reach down in the crystal clear water and pluck out nuggets by the hatful. What they did, I can't imagine. Whooped through their hats in the air, did a stupid little dance around the claim post, but after 3 days of prospecting, late October, high country of the caribou, what do they run into? Snow. Snow.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, 1.5 foot of snow fell on top of their bedrolls. The mighty caribou winter had arrived with a vengeance. And they're struck with a decision to make. What are they going to do? Are they going to stake a claim on Antler Creek and tough it out for the winter, or sneak away and hope nobody discovers the creek until spring? And bear in mind when you make this decision, if you stake a claim on Antler Creek in 1860, mining law clearly states you've got to live on that claim and work it 365 days of the year in order to hold it. So what are they going to do? Are they going to leave or are they going to stay?
Oh, they couldn't stay.
Of course they're going to stay. They'd waited their whole lives for this kind of opportunity. So they stake a claim. 2 of them start building a log cabin, and they send their ringleader, Doc Keithley, back to the town that bears his name, Keithley Creek, to buy supplies.
Yeah.
Now he walks into Red Haired Davis's store, starts ordering. It's late October. He's ordering a new pick, a new broad axe, 20 pounds of flour, 20 pounds of beans, a case of champagne. Other miners in the store, they saw what he was doing, and they followed him. Legend has it, he put his snowshoes on backwards, left in the very early morning with some native packers and tried to blind his trail.
By backwards?
Because it looked as though he was coming instead of going, right?
Tricky, eh?
Yeah, and he tried to blind his trail, but they followed him. And they went down into Antler Creek, and what happened next was one of the craziest staking rushes of BC's history. Men running through the snow, higgledy-piggledy, all staking claims over top of each other. And if you stake a claim in Antler Creek in 1860, you know where you've got to record that claim to make it legal with the government? Williams Lake.
Holy.
185 miles, one way on snowshoes, and it's a foot race. Now, men came into Gold Commissioner Nine's office in Williams Lake wanting to record their claims. They all want the same ground. They're all telling each other lies about what creek they staked and who they staked it under and whatnot. And under those circumstances, he couldn't believe any of the evidence.
No.
So what he did was he went there himself. He left Williams Lake in January, arrived on Antler Creek in March, attending to other business on the way. And when he got there, what he records in his diary can scarcely be believed. There was 400 men camped out in the snow.
When he got there?
When he got there in March.
Holy.
There was one 8x10 log cabin built, and the men were living like gophers. They had dug holes in the snowbanks, lined them with spruce boughs, curled up there in their duffel coat, wool blankets, shiver all night long. Wake up in the morning, build a massive bonfire, warm up your bones, cook a little food. But the most important thing that fire was doing was it was thawing out the frozen gravel so you could get in underneath and pan out your winnings in the frigid waters of Antler Creek. Now, Gold Commissioner Nyand, he looked at these men and he knew they wouldn't survive the winter, most of them. And he said, I've got to change mining law on the spot. This can't happen. And he said, I'm granting you all an extended layover, which means to say, you don't have to live on your claims this winter in order to hold them. We can all go south for the winter, arrive back on an opening date in the spring, and when the snow is off the ground, I can do a proper survey of this creek, and I'll pass down my decision at this time. Now, that sounds pretty reasonable, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Well, how many do you think listened?
I don't know, maybe a quarter?
Very few. You know, and there's a good reason for it. You know, maybe the decision does not fall in your favor, right? You don't want to find out about that in the spring. Because if the decision doesn't fall in your favor, you want to be the next person on the next gold-plated creek in a matter of hours. Those miners demanded that Gold Commissioner Nyand pass down his decisions immediately, so those that were out of luck, they could be on the next gold-plated creek. January, February of 1861,
yeah.
All these gold-plated creeks were being prospected and coming under production, and one of those creeks was Williams Creek, and we'll get to Williams Creek in our next interview.
Okay. Well, thanks again, Dave.
You bet.
That was a good one. The history of the mining is quite something, isn't it? The hardship and...
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's take a look now at what's happening in Quenelle with our community calendar.
Well, Dave Sutton's computer is still having some issues, but he was kind enough to drop us off a CD of some photos that he took at the Christmas nativities at the LDS Church on Friday night. So here is Sutton's Shutters.
We have some news from our sponsor, the Lion Club. The big 5-minute shopping spree, the draw was done on the weekend, and Lenore Yorston won the 3-minute shopping spree, and Dee Pagliaro won the 5-minute one. Both of them stated that neither one have won anything at all in their life, and they're extremely excited about participating in this shopping spree. And I do hope I got that last name correct. If I didn't, my apologies.
And that's coming up, the shopping spree?
On December the 18th
Great.
at Save On Foods. Thank you for reminding me of that.
No problem. So coming up on our next show, we'll have Bert's last installment talking with Dave Brown.
Okay, well, that's it for this show. We want to hear from you with your story and your comments on our show, how we're doing, whether you think it's important, we think it's important. So email us at qtoday@qcatv.ca with your story to ask us to cover a story you know the community would just love to hear about.
And remember,
QToday is about
Quenelle talking to Quenelle.
take care. See you soon.
Bye for now.